Hello, people. I wanted to again briefly look at the ongoing conflict in Tigray, the region of northern Ethiopia, between the Federal Republic of Ethiopia and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF. This is now the second week since the so-called law enforcement operation was declared by Prime Minister Addis Ababa. We do not yet know the impact, the situation on the ground, how dire or severe it is, especially because there is limited information that is trickling in, given the fact that the communication in terms of internet and media are restricted. So there are many layers of trying to verify some of the pieces of information that's coming up. But what we know is we got hundreds of people already dead, and over 30,000 refugees who have already crossed to Sudan, at least according to UNHCR. Now, what I wanted to look at briefly this time is in regard to this war. Actually was just reading something about Hegel, and I think what Hegel made, kind of an argument that there's always a higher good or meaning of war. So there is a reason why states or nations go into war, or peoples, whatever it is, various groups of people. There is always certain objectives, certain goods that are being pursued with war. And in most cases we say war is high politics. Others say it's politics through other means. So basically there are only two ways that people can transact power in political spheres, and that's through diplomacy, which basically is negotiations or talking or engaging through discussions. But also the second one is also it's always war. So nations do resort to war at times when they feel that they are not able, or perhaps for whatever reason they are not willing to pursue the diplomatic path, or the path of actually talking your way out of whatever crisis that you may find yourself in. I think I've previously spoken about the preferred, what I thought was a best option for Ethiopia out of this crisis, and I've said that I think negotiation or dialogue or mediation, at least finding a way to talk about the issues would have been, it still does look like a better option compared to war. Now, I just briefly wanted to look at this war and ask one question: who actually stands to gain or to be the beneficiary of this war? Is it the Republic, the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, which actually started the war? Well, some people say TPLF started it. That's according to the government of Ethiopia, but we know that the government of Ethiopia, federal government, that has the responsibility, the higher responsibility of ensuring peace and security in that country. So the TPLF, the regional leadership of one of the federal states, regional government, could be called to order using various other means. And now that it had gone rogue, I think none of us can really justify some of the acts of the TPLF, but these were provocations. So the government in Addis Ababa, in my view, fell to to the trap of the TPLF by responding through a war. But coming back to what I just said, I want to look at who then actually benefits from this war. Is it the TPLF, or is it the federal government of Ethiopia, or are there other actors who actually stand to gain and benefit from this ongoing war? And my take is that indeed there are outside forces, there are outside actors who seem to me like they are going to be the greatest beneficiary of the ongoing war in Ethiopia. The first one is Eritrea. Isaias Afwerki, the president of Eritrea, has the TPLF and the federal government of Ethiopia as his enemies, the two of them, for historical reasons. I mean, he's fought. The TPLF basically dragged Ethiopia into war with Eritrea. And so, for him, both the Federal Republic of Ethiopia and the TPLF are actually his enemies. The fact that the enemies are now fighting each other is good for him. I mean, this guy must be having his laugh, enjoying seeing the brothers destroy each other, the people that his enemies. So how sweet, how nice is it to see your enemies actually fight and destroy each other. So I think it was naive of the Prime Minister of Ethiopia to have believed and created some level of trust and confidence in Isaias Afwerki. I don't believe that Isaias Afwerki's friendship with Ahmed Abiy is genuine. He may have wanted to see exactly what is going on today. And so the fall of TPLF, the weakening of the federal government of Ethiopia, is a benefit to Eritrea and Isaias Afwerki. Two, in my view, is Egypt. Egypt has been locked in a massive dispute over the Grand Renaissance dam in Ethiopia, to which mediation has actually hit a snarl. As we speak today, we do not seem to have any possible agreement on the use of the waters of the Nile, particularly on how to fill the dam and all that. So Egypt was already getting into a heated kind of confrontation with Ethiopia, which was nearly coming into a military confrontation. So the fact that Ethiopia is going into an internal armed conflict does weaken Ethiopia. A weaker Ethiopia is better for Egypt. It's a good thing for Egypt, because Egypt, so as Ethiopia uses its arsenal, its military might to fight its own internal war, it weakens itself overall as a country, and therefore it exposes itself. And once it finishes its own internal, if it will ever finish war, then if it were to face Egypt, it faces Egypt as a weaker country, as a weaker power. So Egypt actually gains from this current war in the Tigray region. Three, and last, I think the United Arab Emirates, because of its regional strategic interest in Somalia, of course around the Horn of Africa, including military supplies and other strategic military interests, so economic and military for that matter. I think it stands a huge chance as well to benefit from the ongoing conflict in Ethiopia. So these, in my view, are the three countries I come across as direct beneficiaries of the war that's currently underway. So if anybody thinks that this war does not actually have actual material benefit to some actors, you need to rethink. So there could be reason why some actor, there could be reason why Abiy Ahmed is actually behaving the way he's behaving. Perhaps there are people actually pulling strings behind him, kind of influencing him to fight this war. But ultimately, it's not really in the interest of Addis Ababa. I cannot see how Addis Ababa is going to benefit from waging war against one of its member states, regional governments. It can overall diminish the strategic position and power of Ethiopia as a nation. And if you are the leader of Ethiopia, that's the last thing that you would want. That's why I feel that the bottom line is it was a wrong move to wage war, and the earlier that the federal government of Ethiopia realizes its mistake, the better for the good of the country, but also the region at large. Thank you.